This week on Healthy Living, a look at digestive health and gastrointestinal disorders. Rwanda hosts the 5th annual endoscopy week. And how can you improve your gut health? An expert shares some tips. Plus, watch those headphones. Experts say they are not without risks. We'll have these stories and more in this edition of Healthy Living. Hello and welcome to Healthy Living. I'm Linor Moudou. A stomachache is often a sign to use the toilet, but sometimes it can indicate a serious problem in the digestive system. 4 out of every 10 adults in the world suffer from gastrointestinal disorders, according to data published in the Journal of Gastroenterology. The digestive system includes the gastrointestinal tract or GI tract, the stomach, small and large bowels, and organs like the liver, pancreas, and gallbladder. It breaks down food in order to absorb water and extract nutrients, minerals, and vitamins for the body's use while removing waste. Abdominal discomfort, unintentional weight loss, acid reflux, constipation, and loss of appetite are some signs of gastrointestinal problems. Endoscopy is a non-surgical procedure doctors use to examine a person's digestive tract and detect issues like active bleeding from an ulcer or inflammation in the stomach. Let's go to Rwanda, where medical professionals teamed up with international gastrointestinal disease specialists to host the annual endoscopy week this month, conducting the procedure in 8 major hospitals across the country. Our correspondent Jean-Baptiste Mikomieza has the story.
The Community Engagement Week has offered a diagnosis for gastrointestinal diseases and medical care for those who need it. The services are free of charge. Dr. Vincent Dusabejambo, team lead of the 5th annual endoscopy week, says they have provided consultation for 1,000 people.
We came to that decision to conduct the Rwanda Endoscopy Week yearly because from our daily practice, around 30% of patients we meet, they have complaints related to GI, to gastrointestinal conditions. So it is a huge number of patients suffering from that. And that was proven with when we announced the event in a few hours, we were overloaded. Furthermore, among the people, the patients who benefited from the procedures we performed, more than 60% were found with real obvious lesions either in the stomach, in the esophagus, or in the large intestine.
Winifred Yangulije has been seeking care in her village health facilities but could not get a proper diagnosis. Meanwhile, her condition was getting worse. Thanks to the screening, she was diagnosed with gallstone pancreatitis.
My urine turned yellow and bloody. I have been told that I have gallstone pancreatitis. These gallstones obstruct the ducts of my pancreas. The doctors removed gallstones. Today, I hope I will be fine.
Matthias Muyengabe is another beneficiary of Endoscopy Week. He has been suffering from abdominal pain and he thought his life was over. He now has some answers and has found some relief.
I developed an abdominal problem and later started vomiting blood. In this situation, I was desperate, thinking it's no longer possible to be cured. Upon arriving here, I meet the medical specialist who performed a medical exam and found that I have ulcers in my stomach. The doctors were able to help me and I feel better now.
Endoscopy is the insertion of a long, thin tube directly into the body to observe an internal organ or tissue in detail. It can also be used to carry out other tasks, including imaging and minor surgery. Observers say the minimally invasive procedure is not readily available in many parts of the world, leaving many people with GI diseases that can be treated to worsen. To prevent gastrointestinal diseases, Dr. Kini Chudi Ongaje says,
and in terms of what patients can do to stay healthy and prevent gastrointestinal diseases, number one, reducing drinking of alcohol. That helps to reduce your likelihood of liver disease and your risk factor for some cancers. Reducing or stopping smoking, very important. That also reduces your risk factor for cancers. Trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle, not being too sedentary, means you do some exercise on a daily basis. I'm trying to eat healthy.
In addition to prevention methods, the GI specialists advise people to seek medical care early when they notice abnormal symptoms like extreme abnormal pain.
What are some major issues affecting digestive health, and how can you take better care of your digestive system? Here is more from Dr. Haj Maman Nasir, a medical doctor in Abuja, Nigeria.
The most common ones we see here is gastritis, which is inflammation of the stomach. The stomach has lining, which protects it from the stomach acid. So in gastritis, there is inflammation, which can be caused by, let's say, maybe people take something that's harmful. They swallow toxic substances that they are not supposed to. Or sometimes you hear cases where people ingest rat poison or something, and then they come in. These things are very toxic. It causes inflammation. They're lucky it stopped at inflammation. It actually kills some people. People who drink a lot of alcohol, it can cause gastritis. People who engage in eating a lot of spicy food. And then another thing is certain viruses, certain bacteria, they can cause these gastritis. Symptoms include pain, abdominal pain, nausea, and then vomiting blood. And then people might experience blood in their stool. And then another thing that is prevalent here is peptic ulcer disease, what people usually call ulcer. The main cause of ulcer is Helicobacter pylori bacteria, and then certain drugs like the NSAID class. One of their side effects, unfortunately, is gastritis, peptic ulcer disease. Common disease we see here is appendicitis. The pain starts suddenly, and the only way to treat it is through surgery to take out this appendix. It's something that has to be tackled immediately because it's very dangerous. If it ruptures the appendix, it can become life-threatening. So aside from these, there are other diseases, but another thing that I would really like to touch light on is colorectal cancer. There are other cancers like esophageal cancer, stomach cancer, but colorectal cancer is something that's prevalent, especially in the older generation. But the interesting thing is, as time is changing, now we see people as early as 35 years old, 40 years old developing colorectal cancer. One of the main risk factors for the colorectal cancer is smoking, alcohol, and then genetics. Some people have a disease called familial adenomatous polyposis, FAP, and these are small polyp-like structures that develop all through the bowels, and then this can lead to cancer. Why it's important to get checked regularly is because so that the disease can be arrested at an early stage. Bottom line is, when you feel something is wrong with you and you take certain medicines that you think is going to work for you and it doesn't work, go to the hospital. So the first step we can do is, honestly, when you know something is wrong, get yourself treated in the hospital. And then lifestyle modification. So eating healthy, exercise, fresh air. When you know something is wrong, get into the hospital.
Shuttered shops, freshly dug graves, new treatment centers. Some 150 kilometers from the bustle of the capital, Kampala, the latest strain of the Ebola virus has sparked fear in Kasonda and Mubende, the epicenter of the outbreak in Uganda. Here is more.
As Ugandan farmer Bonaventura Senyonga prepares to bury his grandson, age-old traditions are forgotten, and fear hangs in the air while a government medical team prepares the body for the funeral. Bidding the dead goodbye is usually a community affair. This time, 80-year-old Senyonga is accompanied by just a handful of relatives.
Okusooka At first, we thought it was a joke or witchcraft, but when we started seeing bodies, we realized this is real and that Ebola can kill.
Over 50 people have died with more than 135 cases so far, according to Ugandan Health Ministry. Kasanda and Mubende districts are the epicenter of the Ebola outbreak. Both districts have been under a lockdown since mid-October. Cases have been reported in the capital, Kampala, and now in Jinja in eastern Uganda.
We have money problems. We are also facing the problems of hunger. Food has been scarce, so we have a problem. We are unable to produce food to eat because everyone is afraid.
Ebola is not airborne. It spreads through bodily fluids, with common symptoms being fever, vomiting, bleeding, and diarrhea. Observers say misinformation remains rife and poses a major challenge in containing the outbreak. Hudson Kunsa is a doctor who was infected while on duty as a survivor and shares this message.
When I was sick, at one point I felt like I'm actually going to die. But then I bargained with God. I'm like, God, give me a second chance. But if I go back, I'm not coming back to Mubende. I'm going home. I'm not coming back.
But in the end, he did stay and decided not to abandon his people. Today, survivors have emerged as a powerful weapon in Uganda's fight against Ebola, sharing their experiences as a cautionary tale, but also as a reminder that patients can survive if they receive early treatment.
The journey from work to home or vice versa can be long with rush hour traffic. Often, putting headphones into the ear and listening to music has been an option for many during this time. However, experts say using the headset for more than 1 hour can cause hearing loss. Here is a closer look.
Music, podcasts, radio, whatever you listen to, you probably listen through headphones, some of the time. We went out to see how much time people use this accessory each day.
I only use it in the mornings when I'm on public transportation and at night when I come home for about an hour and a half.
I use them for maybe 4 hours a day.
I use the headset about an hour or 2 hours, no more than that.
For a person who uses them for more than an hour and a half at a time, and with an intensity above about 70 decibels, this can cause the person to develop some hearing loss, induced by the noise itself.
Dr. Archimedes Bambo, an otorhinolaryngology specialist, further breaks down how this accessory can endanger health.
People sometimes use this headset in a noisy environment, and their tendency is to turn up the volume in order to isolate themselves from the external environment. This ends up creating a direct impact on our ear because this energy produced by the sound will damage the cells of the inner ear. Then you start to develop what we call hypoacusis, which is hearing loss.
The problems don't stop there.
If we are using, for example, these intercannular earphones, as we can see here, we insert them into our ear canal. The vibration on the hair cells can cause them to lose their sensitivity, causing temporary or permanent hearing loss. And these ones are better in terms of choice because they try to isolate the external sound a little more, so I would need less intensity.
As this is an accessory that is often necessary, Dr. Bambo recommends that you take a break of at least 30 minutes and choose a volume that also allows you to hear the sound around you, that is, a medium volume.
That's our show for today. For more health news, wellness tips, and medical breakthroughs, stay connected to Voice of America at voaafrica.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Linor Mudu. Until next time, stay well and strive to make every day a healthy day.